I be up one, tryna cuff some. And if lil' mama looking at me, she gon' fuck some. So nigga, what's up? Don't try to act tough. Couple niggas all around me and they might bust. I want to be bullshit. Welcome to another episode of Indy and Guvpp. Today we're just kind of talking, just kind of casual talk. I really kind of wanted to get into kind of like your explanation of ancestral work, ancestral magic, yeah, all that, and kind of breaking down as much as briefly as you condense as you can. I know that's kind of hard. I guess Christianity in a sense. Ooh. But that might be for it's real loaded. That might be my fault. Another video. It's real loaded. Okay, well, either way. So what started this conversation? I had made a question. I had posed a question because we were watching different things. Because y'all know Mo3 just died yesterday. Rest his soul. And
the other day too.
Oh yeah, King Von died the day before him.
It was like 3 days ago.
At this, yeah. Well, either way, so I was asking. I was on Trap Boy Freddy stuff, and I was he had made this post, and he was saying like, you know, these people I care. I guess he was naming off some of his niggas that died, and he was like, y'all my guardian angels, y'all watch over me. And so I posed the question, you know, do gangsters become ancestors? And she was like, most times not really. And I'm like, okay, well, why? So that made me pose the question: what constitutes? How do you know if you're gonna become an ancestor or?
Okay, so I have to speak from my opinion and my experience with medium work. I've had a lot of people reach out to me because some hood nigga got shot, some hood nigga got killed some kind of way, you know, and they're like, oh, I just want to reach out to them, you know, I want to know if they're okay. And a lot of times I can't get through to them because they lost their soul a long time ago. It's kind of bigger than just like, oh, somebody died, heaven and hell. Like, I really do believe in, we had a conversation yesterday about Mo3, and I was like, he's still on that freeway. And you was like, well, how? Like, don't you know he dead? And I was like, well, you know, here's the thing is that, you know, Catholics believe in something called Parliament. Parliament is the in-between of heaven and hell. It's not heaven, it's not hell, it's not good, it's not evil. And I feel like that's that stage. It's like eventually they have to move between one of the two. But a lot of people who, you know, and no offense, like I said, rest in peace and respectfully, a lot of them move in a low vibrational manner, so they don't ever get to that higher calling of being what ancestors really are to us.
That makes sense.
A lot of them are not reachable, you know, when I can read their energy, just like when that picture of
that one guy I saw, Mr. King Von.
That one picture of King Von was floating around of his
body, his
autopsy photo, and I looked at it and I was like, and it wasn't what he looked like that got me. It wasn't the scars that got me. It was his energy that was still lingering, which was something that was angry.
And you said you was like, he angry.
I was like, he's angry as hell. And it's funny because Asian Doll spoke to a medium who told her basically the same things that I had said long before, you know, she had gone to go consult anybody. This is before, what's the other baby name? The young guys that be doing all the conscious music now.
NLE Chopper.
Before NLE Chopper said anything, I said, this nigga's angry. Mm-hmm. Like, he's angry, he's unrested. Something happened that, you know, we'll probably never know, but his spirit is fucking angry, and a lot of them never come out of that. Like, even through justice, they never come out of that. And I also do believe that, like, your ancestors play a big role in how you end up resting. So if you're somebody who consciously did bad, you consciously ignored your gut feelings, you consciously like just chose the opposite of what your path was supposed to be. Kind of like old boy was saying, like when you chose it, you play a role.
Yeah.
Your role is important, and when you take your role and you go left with it because you got big head and the money is this and that, and niggas see you like this, and now you really want to be the shooter that you talk about in your music, like it takes you to a whole different path. Like you're not in charge anymore. Your ancestors are not in charge anymore. The energy that we know as God or the universe is no longer having her hands on you, because you're now doing things that, and it's like they are aware, but they still feel like, ancestors are not God. They aren't all knowing, all seeing. They can't do anything but warn you and try to keep you from doing certain things. And when you've gone, it's almost like a parent. It's just like you keep fucking up, you keep fucking up, you keep fucking up. My son goes to jail 20 times. The 21st time, I'm not gonna bail that nigga out.
Right,
and that's just kind of how it goes. It's just like, I'm no longer here to save your soul. And a lot of times when people die young, I really do think that's their ancestors like politely taking their hands off the situation. Like, all right, you want to be a hood nigga? I'm gonna let you do hood nigga shit.
Because you weren't meant to be a hood nigga.
You weren't meant. That wasn't your.
Anointed to be something more than that. You were chosen.
Right.
But you didn't. That makes sense.
So with that being said, it is kind of bigger than a heaven and hell situation, because there are a lot of spirits that linger, and people need to be very aware of that. Like, it's not ever going to be so simple as, like, oh, I'm going to go here, or I'm going to go there. Hood niggas go to hell. Like, hood niggas stay lost, for we being honest. Because a lot of them just don't, especially people that die young, they don't be understanding where they are.
Right. That's what you had said last night. You was like, he going to be on that freeway a long time. She's like, he don't realize he dead.
Yeah, he doesn't realize
he don't realize he dead.
Dead. For a lot of spirits that I've come in contact with, even in being in certain spaces, I had the opportunity to do a house blessing for somebody, and she let me know that the people who she had rented her home to previous to her moving back in the house admitted to using a Ouija board. And she said, I'm terrified, there's something in my house, I can't tell if it's good or bad, but what I do know is I don't want to hear. And so when I got to feeling what I was feeling with the spirit was, I ended up doing some research after the fact, was it was a young person, and come to find out about 12 years before she bought that house, somebody had committed suicide in the house with a 14-year-old boy. And he did not know. He was just lost. Like, he was just like, I can't get out of here. And it just seemed like a bad dream for him. That's what I kept hearing. Like, this is just a bad dream and I can't wake up from it. And you end up having to release those spirits into the hands of their ancestors, because there's nothing further you can do. You can't talk to them. You can't talk them down about it. You can't make them see a light that they don't want to see.
So what do you mean release them into the hands of their ancestors?
They do what they do after that. That's not my business. But like, after you release a spirit that has been lost for so long, like I said, some people just stay, some energies just stay stuck. No matter how many times you say, they're gonna be there. That's their home. It's kind of like
them haunted houses. Like,
I was about to say, it's kind of like murder house. Like, all the people that died, they stayed there. Yeah. And they're like, oh, it's because the house was cursed. And really and truly, like, all of them spirits, it's like did you watch Murder House all the way through? So you know how Violet didn't know she was dead until he showed her, this is your body. You died when you did such and such and such. And she had no idea. But that's really how it is. Talking to spirits, sometimes they just don't be knowing.
I hate to wake up and be dead and not know.
Yeah, a lot of them just don't know. They don't know. And then when they do know, they don't want to leave what they know.
No,
so they don't leave the house. They won't leave their friends. They won't, that's another reason why I've always had a hard time, like, going to, like, estate sales, or even to some, like thrifting stuff for like furniture, because sometimes people will latch on to stuff, they spirits will latch on to stuff, and next thing you know, you got the spirit that's trapped in the house and they don't want to be there. All they know is their stuff is there, and they're like, why the fuck is my shit here?
Yeah.
Why am I here? This is not my house. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's
knocking all this shit over.
It's, and you know, that's another thing when we were having that trapped soul conversations, how I said it is really easy for souls to get trapped into things. But yeah, anyway, it's kind of off topic. But a lot of times, like, hood niggas lose their soul and don't even be realizing it. Like, they literally kind of sell their soul to their lifestyle. You said what? Oh. But on another note, I did kind of want to touch on, like, ancestral magic and ancestral healing. Me and Bae both frequently talk about our ancestors, and I'm kind of teaching him, but he's also kind of learning some things on his own, just kind of through his own experiences. And one of the things with ancestral magic, to me, I feel like that's one of the strongest of any paths that you could ever walk, and that is whether you want to be Christian, Muslim, Santo, whatever the fuck.
Can I interject?
Yeah.
Question. So, you can be of a certain religion or faith and still follow your ancestors?
Yeah, because your ancestors are your people regardless.
Regardless
you
of
know
what
what
you
I'm saying?
practice.
That's just like,
well, that's just like practicing Christianity. We practice hoodoo.
To be, yeah, but to be very honest, it's just like, people do things with their ancestors they don't even fucking realize that they do. Burial ceremonies is a form of ancestral practices. You know, people go and do balloon releases on their birthdays or their anniversaries. They do candlelight vigils on their anniversaries. Or you know, white candles is to either release a spirit or to welcome them. A lot of times, especially for people who are grieving, it's to welcome them. Like, hey, you still welcome here. I still want your spirit here. I still need to feel you. I want to smell your scent every blue moon. I'm okay with you being here and watching over me, which is why people say, oh, my guardian angel, this and that. And so it's easier for them to say my guardian angel than my ancestor, blah, 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 because people have taught you that that's a bad thing. But yeah, so basically for us, I can say that my ancestral magic came after me fucking up for a very long time, thinking that orishas were the only way to be magical. I started practicing dealing with my ancestors, I guess I can say about a year ago now.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought you'd been working with them longer.
No. And it came, like I said, because I was fucking up so bad. My manifestations weren't working. I was losing money out of my ass. I did not know how to. And to me, I feel like you can't talk to the orishas until you know how to deal with your ancestors. Because there is just like a courtesy in a relationship. And if you are going to make a contract with an orisha or Iwa for that matter, like, you need to be able to already be in the habit of, let me give you this offering, let me burn my ancestor money, let me light this candle on these days, let me make sure I'm feeding you twice a week, let me do this, let me do that, you know what I'm saying? Like, those things are very, very, very much important, because it's just like, you know, any other time, if somebody needs something from you, like, like earlier, you said, well, babe, you go to the store, I'll cook. It's a give and take thing.
Right.
I feel like my life drastically changed when I started acknowledging my ancestors. I went from, like I said, struggling and not being understanding why I was struggling so bad to literally doing the same thing. And things were just like, I mean, literally just things just kind of popping out of nowhere and working out.
And explain exactly what we do to worship our ancestors or to contact or to establish that relationship. We have to give our offering and
we give offerings. We light candles. We dress them a certain way. We burn certain incense with our money. We talk to them. We
give them off. Like, I'm starting out, so my altar I have my aunt, my grandmother, and my grandfather up there. And for my grandfather, I always put like some kind of liquor up there or beer. For my grandmother, I put a Holy Bible up there since she was a strong Christian. And then for my aunt, I always give her Newports up there. And then Yasmin told me, she was like, you need to have earth, wind, fire, or some elements. I don't know. So that's why I keep my crystals up there, and then the incense for the air, and then the fire when I burn the money. So yeah, but I'm sorry, go ahead, Ben.
Also, but yeah, like, so there are little nicks that you can do, like, for your specific ancestors, but for the most part, like, if you're wanting to know how to start your ancestor altar, the best thing you can do is water, liquor, tobacco, candles. If you don't know what color their favorite color was or anything like that, the best thing you can do is white candles. White candles are all purpose. You will need to change the water. You will need to top off their liquor. Let me see what else. Outside of that, like I said, feeding them is very, very, very important. Ooh.
That's what we needed the whole time.
Feeding them is very important. They still can feed off of us, because they do exist with us still. It's it's almost like somebody sitting in a room with you. And it's funny because it's like when you do start to feed your ancestors, you'll start to notice things like the food that you put on your altar doesn't go bad, and the water that you put on your altar, well, you making my nerves.
I know. Shit.
Did it fall out?
God damn. Yes, it did. Okay, I'll be back. Continue talking.
The water that you put on your altar will start to bubble up. I know that for me, I started to have dreams about very specific ancestors that were talking to me. Like, for instance, my grandmother that is on my dad's side, she passed away when I was like 1 or 2 years old, and I started having like very, very vivid dreams when I would have like questions or concerns about things, and that came shortly after I started burning my ancestor money, because I come from a family of, I have a lot of women who, well, I can't even just say women, I have a lot of family members that are just still fucking alive. My great grandmother, on my mom's side, my grandfather's mother is alive, and so I'm just like, death is something that's still kind of foreign to me, because dealing with death is still kind of foreign to me. But yeah, so I started having these very vivid dreams of my grandmother, who I did not know in my adult life. Like, I could hear her, I could see her, I could smell her. I would have, when I say that I'm a person that will have a dream, unless I tell you what my dream was like right then, I usually would have forgotten by the time somebody else is awake long enough for me to tell them. But like, I can tell you that like the last time my grandmother came to me in my sleep, it was so vivid. I can still tell you exactly what she was wearing, exactly what she smelled like, exactly where she was in my room. And that's the thing, is that like, it'll almost be like I rose up out of my sleep and she'll be like sitting at the foot of my bed and like telling me about certain things. And like, the only memories I have of her are pictures, and there, I was so young, I don't remember none of that shit. So yeah, it is kind of a big thing. And then I also recently, funny enough, he met my mom for the first time, and my mom has gotten into her phase of her life where she wants to pull out old pictures of me when I bring somebody home. And she was scrolling through this old photo album. Huh?
I said photo album.
Photo album, and a picture of my great grandpa was there, and there was a picture of him and my aunt. My aunt is still living, but he passed away when I was in high school. Yeah, I was in high school, and he was just like one of my favorite people, just because he was so lighthearted and happy. And I was really devastated when he passed, because I was just like, you know, I know he lived a long time, etc., etc. But for me to be in a space where I'm now in transition and moving here, and we're both trying to get our like ancestor altars like really put together, it was just really nice to have come across a picture of him, because when I do think of my ancestors, I guess I wasn't thinking about him because it just so happened so long ago. But he recently has started to speak in my sleep, and I don't see him, but I hear him. And sometimes when certain things are happening, like I noticed a lot lately, I was kind of like spaced out, and I'm listening to him talk to me, and then I'll snap back into it, and I'll be like, you know what? That's like somebody, you know? And it's just nice to know that, you know, even when I'm not like specifically talking about a specific ancestor, like they care enough to try to do something to get my attention, to let me know who they are. Like, you may start your altar or your ancestral magic not knowing who cuts for you, and that's okay.
It's funny that you say that, because while you was talking, I was thinking about how funny it is how you sometimes you don't know who cuts for you, because what came into my mind was my aunt. Because remember how I told you when I was talking to Yasmin, and I had this issue with a particular person. And when I was talking to my other reader, she was saying, yeah, so she was saying, she's like, do you gotta, she said, this person is not happy that you are sticking around in this situation with this other person, and they're mad that you're allowing this other person to do the things that they're doing to you. And she was like, it's somebody who's talking to me. They keep on saying, I don't like that bitch. I don't like that bitch. She was like, do you have a lot of custody in your family? And I was like, on my daddy's side, yeah. And she was like, well, I keep on saying, she was like, it's some, I was like, you see cigarette smoke? She was like, yeah, I do see some cigarette smoke. She was like, you been smelling cigarettes sometimes lately, just out of the blue? I was like, it's been 1 or 2 times. And then, and how she was, she was like, she got her face contorted up, like, like, and she keep on saying, because we were talking about a particular person, she was like, I don't like that bitch, I don't like that bitch. And I said, you know what? I said, it sounds like you're talking about my aunt. And I said, I'm going to send you a picture. And I said, I'm not going to send it with just her, because it's easy for me to send a picture and somebody be like, yeah, that's her. So I was like, I'm going to send it with other people. And then I want you to tell me if this is the person that you're seeing who's trying to give me this message. So I sent her a picture of my aunt who died at this point 3 years ago, 2017. And it was a picture of both my aunts. And so my aunt that's living was on the right, my aunt that's deceased was on the left. And I sent her the picture, and she automatically sent back, she said left. I was like, damn. So it's like, and whenever I do like my candle, I put my pictures of my ancestors on each candle, and like a sign that they're really like there and like listening or receiving your offering is like when the flame is like really wild and really like standing up really big. And a lot of times her flame will be standing up really, really high, and it's just amazing.
And it's not even dancing, it's just tall.
It's just
like,
tall,
hey,
yeah.
I'm in the room.
It's like, yeah, it's like the presence of, hey, I'm in the room. And it's crazy because I was telling Babe and Yasmin that Yasmin was our other reader.
Shout out to Yasmin.
Shout out, yeah. She don't have to lie. It's getting hot out here, man. That was cool. Anyway, I just didn't know that my aunt fucked with me like that. Cause like I said, I was a very timid child growing up. My aunt was very outspoken. She gonna let you know how she feels. She'll cuss your ass out. So a lot of times I kind of felt like intimidated, or like I don't even know if my aunt really fucked with me. And Yasmin was like, you'd be surprised who. Yasmin was like, you'd be surprised who really cuts for you, which one of your ancestors really cut for you in the afterlife. And when I tell you she is one of them, I be feeling, I be knowing when she in the room, and there's times where it'll be so, especially I get the feeling if somebody's doing something to me or doing wrong, it's kind of like that instant of, nah, you got me fucked up. And it's like, okay, that's her. That's her, like, nah, you got this nigga fucked up. So it's crazy who cuts for you and how your life, you have a different sense of like everything's gonna be okay. Because there'll be times when I'm stressing about something and it's like this, I don't say it's hard to explain. It's kind of like a voice will just kind of be like, it's okay, baby, it's gonna be all right. And I feel like that's my granny talking to me. So it's just, it's a lot. But I love it. I enjoy it. So
quick tidbit while we still have memory space. Ancestral magic, just to break down, You know, we done talked about the altars, we done talked about your ancestors, we done talked about, you know, how to take care of them. The best thing ever is when you need something done and you have the relationship with your ancestors and you can just stick some up there on your altar and be like, you heard me, this is what this is.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, like, for instance, I had an issue with somebody, so I did a reversal candle. I put that up there on my ancestor altar. I prayed. I let them know what was going on, and it was like by the next day, it was like showing that energy was being returned to them.
And shit, that's what you setting up the candle. It's times when our ancestors will do stuff on our behalf if we get hurt.
Well, see, my ancestors do the fool at
That's
this
what I'm
point
saying,
because I have, I love to say that I have a different kind of relationship with them because I literally fully 110% rely on them.
Yeah.
And I'm very much aware of them, and they're very much aware that I am aware of them. And they know that I'm just as proud of them as I want them to be of me. And I think that has made such a big difference in my life. But also, when I pray to them and I pray for protection and I ask them to, you know, protect my family, protect my energy, protect everything around me, and shit get to happening when somebody's around me that didn't need to be. It just seems like there's sometimes where, you know, I'm supposed to meet up with somebody and it just doesn't work out, and it ends up being that, you know, they got bad energy, you know. Then strange shit will just start to happen when I'm not supposed to, like, be with someone. They'll come around and knock all that shit over if they feel like, you know, they're not worthy of my time.
And they'll get mad because, yeah, let's say my aunt was mad at me. She was like, she's been trying to throw you hints about this person for forever. And thinking back on it now, I can see how it's been through different hints. And she's like, you've been ignoring it. You've been ignoring it. You've been ignoring it. And I'm like, So once you start that relationship, and I'm not to the point where I fully realize, I'm still, honestly, it's more of a really just trusting in myself and my intuition, and that this is all still new for me. So I do rely on them a lot. I'm aware of them now, and I'm gonna rely on them a lot more than I did. But I still got a little ways to go.
Yeah.
But I think I just still be doubting myself and my ability, or doubting that they got me. But it's they there. They got me. They be hearing me.
They ain't going nowhere either.
Nah, they not. And then even knowing that my ancestors have also told me that they're proud of me and that I'm exactly who I'm supposed to be, you know, because they were saying, I was talking to Yasmin and she was saying, you're not the first one in your bloodline who has felt the way that you have felt regarding my transition. She's like, you know, it's a lot of people in your family or in your bloodline who wanted to do the same thing as you, but they didn't have the courage to do it because of...
You just dropped that on the people? You didn't even tell them you was trans.
I did tell them last.
No, baby, you didn't. You didn't mention it one time.
Oh, shit. Okay, so tidbit, fun fact, I am. And when she had told me that, I had been having... She was like, because you've been having a lot of doubts lately about whether you made the right decision. I said, not doubts, but I had been going kind of through a phase where, and I'm coming out of it, where I just felt the need to not doubt, because I feel like it's the best decision I ever made. I would never regret that. It's just feeling the need to hide, or feeling the need not to be as loud and vocal as I was when I first started on my journey. But she was like, you know, don't. She was like, they are proud of you. Like, I keep on hearing cheers. She was like, you did exactly what they wanted you to do. She was like, there was other people who've been in your family or in your bloodline who wanted to do the same, but because of fear of persecution or judgment or whatever, they couldn't. So when they look at you like the golden child, like he did what we couldn't do. She's like, so they are fully behind you there. So for her, when she said that, I just started crying, because I often wonder, like, is my granny proud of me, or did she? And she was like, you know, they're all proud of you. You did exactly what you were supposed to do. And I was like, good. So that's a lot. How long is this? But this 30 minutes. I think this was a good one though. You have anything else you kind of want to add? No. I did kind of. We're gonna do the next video on some of this, because I didn't even realize I didn't drop that knowledge on them. Surprise!
Surprise!
But yeah, so I guess we'll go ahead and wrap that up, and we'll see you guys later. Y'all subscribe though. Don't forget to subscribe and follow us on
And make sure you follow us on
Twitter, Facebook,
Twitter, Facebook,
all that good jazz. All that. Like, subscribe, share. All right.
I be up one, tryna cuff some. And if lil' mama looking at me, she gon' fuck some. So nigga, what's up? Don't try to act tough. Couple niggas all around me and they might bust. I want the big wheels with the new truck.